Hey there, Leafs Nation. Thanks you for joining us for our next episode of our podcast with me and Addy. And we're going to jump right into it. Talk about game one of the Leafs Habs tonight and possible lineup, uh, what the Leafs are going to look like, what the Habs are going to look like. And, you know, we'll add our predictions for tonight and what we think is going to happen. So, do you have the Habs lineup or do you have the Leafs lineup there?
I got the Leafs lineup to
Okay.
start.
Okay.
So I'm just going to read out first line and move down.
Mm-hmm.
So we got on the first line, the Leafs activated Zach Hyman off of LTI recently.
That's right.
And so he's going to be playing left wing with Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner on the
Mm-hmm.
first line. And then our second line, we have Nick Foligno,
Yep.
John Tavares, and William Nylander.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I really like that Nick Foligno's up on the second line with the big two there. I just think that he plays a good role with that line, and he's had some recent success with being in the top six.
Yeah, for sure. I think they're trying to play off the success that Zach Hyman has on that line, and you could see how they specifically targeted a player that's very much like Zach Hyman for that line. So
Mhm.
here's hoping Nick Foligno can bring the same kind of success that Zach Hyman does on those top two lines.
Yeah, and if I'm correct, he still hasn't scored his first goal as a Leaf yet. No, right? Okay, so let's hope he does that tonight.
Tonight would be a great time to
Tonight,
score that first goal. Yeah,
tonight would be the perfect time to score.
that's right.
Yeah, and then moving on to our third line, we have Ilya Mikheyev with Riley Nash centering, and then Kerfoot on the right. So I think this is the first game where we're going to see Riley Nash in action.
That's right.
He's I mean, I personally haven't seen much of his type of play, so I can't
Mm-hmm.
speak too much of it. But I've heard he's been a solid like shutdown type of guy.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So that's kind of what I expect of him being on the third line with Mikheyev and Kerfoot.
yeah. And
And
he's
then
playing with two penalty killers, so you're just looking for like a defensively sound, like fast
exactly.
skating line that can pretty much match up against anybody. And I really don't think it. The Montreal Canadiens top line, I'm assuming, is going to be like Tatar with Dano and Gallagher. So it doesn't seem like that hard of a matchup to shut down.
Right. And if I'm not wrong, I think Montreal's lines, their third line, I believe, has Stahl, Anderson, and
Corey
Perry.
Perry.
So yeah, that'll be a line or two lines to look out for.
Yeah,
Um,
it's gonna be very interesting. I want to see that line go up against Thornton, Spezza, and Simmons just to see
mhm,
what. I don't know if they're gonna try to play that third line against the Leafs' second line with Foligno, Tavares, and Nylander. I don't
mhm.
see how that's like a recipe for success. Just considering how slow that line is for Montreal and how fast like Nylander and Tavares are. I don't see that being like a good idea for them. But if they're going to go up against one of the Leafs' slower lines in Spezza and Simmons and Thornton, that's going to be an interest. There's like over 5,000 games there on those two lines.
Right.
It's going to be one of the it's going to be one of those like old grizzled vets, dirty players.
Yeah.
I'm afraid to see what Corey Perry is going to get up to because if he starts like spearing people like he does in the playoffs and all the dirty stuff that he's used to. I don't know, man. I'm gonna be yelling
Mhm.
at the TV a lot tonight.
Yeah, let's hope he can he'll dial it down against us. But and then we have our fourth line. We have Thornton, Spezza, and Simmons. You got the veteran line. Can't mix too much about it, but it's
One
a
of
good
the
line.
funnier prop bets on this series is Wayne Simmons at point 0.5 goals for the series. I definitely think he's gonna score at least one goal in the series.
I think
Whether
so
it's on
too.
the power play or just like the fourth line doing what they do,
Hmm.
that's something I want to put like some serious a serious amount of money on.
Yeah, I remember halfway through the season, he was a really good asset to the power play unit, and he's a good net front guy, so he can
Yeah,
definitely
I
score
mean
if he gets a tip or.
200. power play goals in your career
Yeah.
isn't anything to sneeze at. Like 200 power play goals is, you could definitely tell that he's the kind of guy that scores the garbage goals, and he's in front of the net. So, they did change the power play groupings around for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Tavares is not on the top power play anymore. Riley is not on the top power play anymore. So, you know, adding Thornton and Simmons to the top power play with Marner and Matthews and Sandin,
Mhm.
I think it's a good idea. I think spreading it around is good. I'm not really scared of the Montreal defense core. They don't have like any. They have Shea Weber, of course, but like they don't have like a Brody, a Muzzin, and a Bogosian to throw out there back to back to back.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think switching up the power play is something that Leafs need to do. Like, we got to get something going. We can't be going like 5 for 80 on our power play, and like
Yeah, I think
that's
putting too many
that's
talented
horrible.
guys on the power play at once makes them pass more than they would. They would shoot more, just
Yeah.
because if you're not going to use the middle guy, there's no point in putting Tavares on the top power play if that middle guy is never going to get used. If you rather just that middle guy stand in front of the net like the way Thornton or Simmons does on the other side of the net, and they're just switching, right? If the puck goes this way, then the other guy switches. So it's better to get Tavares and Nylander on the second power play with like Spezza and some other type of playmakers.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, if we continue on with our power play talk, we have
Mm-hmm.
on the first unit we have Hyman, Thornton, Matthews, and Marner, with Sandin quarterbacking the defense.
Oh,
I
that's
really
right. They
like Sandin.
switched Hyman and Simmons. That's correct.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they put Hyman on the front,
Yeah.
on the first unit. But yeah, speaking of Sandin, like the way this kid's been playing since he's joined the Leafs
Mm-hmm.
this season, actually, he's been so impressive with his stretch passes, and the
Oh yeah.
guy can handle the puck very well.
Yeah, he's
So
very
I
poised with
definitely
the
like
puck.
to see him in that unit, right? So it's going to be something to look out for,
Mm-hmm.
sending on the first unit. And as for the second unit, you got Simmons, Tavares, Spezza, Nylander, and Riley. So that's a unit that we've roughly seen before,
Yep.
with the additions of Spezza and Simmons.
Yep.
Um, it's yeah, like I think that unit's going to be good too. Like I think what Keith's been going for recently, or not Keith, who is it? Malhotra,
Yep.
for the
Power
special
play unit.
teams.
Yeah. Power play
Yeah,
goals.
so I think he wants to create two even teams, power play units, which
Yeah.
it works with some teams. It works. It doesn't work with others.
Well, if you're a
I
team
don't know
like Edmonton, I could see how you would load up on the top power play with
exactly.
McDavid, Ryan Nugent Hopkins, and Draisaitl, just
Draisaitl.
because you don't have many options. But the deeper the team is, the harder you have to make it because, if you load up on one power play, then they're just going to shut down that one power play. But if you even it out, maybe, both power plays get going, or maybe the second power play with Tavares and Nylander and Spezza get going, and then maybe that's what you need, right? Because
Hmm.
Montreal doesn't have four shutdown defensemen to put out between two power plays. So it's
Right.
definitely better to spread it out.
Yeah. Okay. So now we talk about our special teams. We
Mm-hmm.
look at our defensive pairings now. We'll go on to our first unit, which is Riley Brody. Hasn't changed all season.
Hasn't changed
No,
all
no,
season.
no need to change it for the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Muzzin Hall, again, same story.
Yep.
Now the third pairing is where we have a little bit of a small change.
Yep.
We took Dermott out, so Sandy is going to be filling in for
A
Dermott.
little bit of an upgrade there, I think.
A little bit, a little bit. I agree. And then you got Zach Bogosian back. The physicality, the big man is here. I think if he like, I think if he brings his size to the game, and he plays like Bogosian's been a very I would say consistent, fairly
Yeah, I
like I
think
would
I
say
think this season
over the
he's been a
year.
fairly consistent guy. I haven't really seen him like, blow too many passes up the middle where it turns
Oh,
into a turnover. Like I haven't noticed him all season. A lot like TJ Brody. Like the guy just plays. You don't hear from him. You don't notice him. Like
hmm
that's what you want from a defensive defenseman.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So yeah, if Bogosian can, come back with how he's looked over the season,
yep,
that should be great for a depth defensive pairing. Um, and obviously you got Jack Campbell starting
yes,
with I believe Freddie backing up. Yeah,
that's right.
so
Yeah,
he'll be. I think that's pretty much the only option the Leafs should start
yeah,
is
for
Jack
sure. You got to
Campbell.
start with Jack Campbell.
You,
You know,
you have to start.
the Montreal Canadiens starting with Price. You
Hmm.
know, one thing I was looking at was, the last time Price played the Leafs was 3 months ago, and you know, his record this season against the Leafs is 1-2-1. His goals against is 3.48 against the Leafs, and his save percentage is 868. And the last time he played the Leafs was February 20th. So, like when I look at these stats and him coming off concussion, and I don't know if you've seen the video of him being pissed off in practice where he smoked the stick on the,
The stick, yeah, on the
like
boats.
a lot of people are saying that, like, he's intense and he's fired up. I think personally, when you see that goal go in right inside the post and he tries to make that save, I think he's super pissed that he went from this elite goaltender that he can't make basic saves sometimes. And it's so frustrating for him. And you see it. You can see it in his play. Like Carey Price when he was the, you know, uh, you know, Hockey Canada goalie who won golds and he was putting up those killer stats in the NHL. It was such a calm, cool guy. Like, it looked like he was barely moving in net. He's like in Montreal they hate him a lot because they think he lacks intensity and he's not emotional enough. But he's like basically the William Nylander of goalies. It
Very
looks
inconsistent.
effortless when he's on his game. It looks effortless. You know what I'm saying? The same thing, same reasons why some
Yeah,
people hate William Nylander is exactly why some people in Montreal don't like Carey Price because they're like, can you make it look harder? Can you maybe break a sweat? Can you do something out there where you can tell me that you're trying hard? But it's effortless when he's on his game. It's effortless.
exactly. Yeah, I as a Leaf fan, I really love Carey Price.
How could
He
you
he
not? The guy's
he,
world class.
he's such an amazing guy off the ice too. But I would really love to see him get a cup. Maybe not this year, but this is our year.
Not this
But
season.
not this season. But who knows? Maybe the Leafs trade for him. You never know. That could be a
Imagine
thing.
the Leafs. Imagine the Leafs in a flat cap world were able to create 10.5
10
million
million.
dollars in cap space.
Yeah, honestly, actually, I had a coworker who came up to me. He's like,
Yeah,
"What do you think about trading for Carey Price and Jeff Petrie, and then we would send their way William Nylander, I believe he said Morgan Riley, and I think Timothy Liljegren, and maybe a first." And I was like, "Yo,
just cap
yo,
wise, just cap wise,
that's
you're looking at 10.5 for Price, and I don't know. I think
like seven going their way."
it's
Oh no, sorry. 6 plus 5. You got Riley too, right? So
so
11.
how much is Jeff P? I'm looking it up right now.
Yeah.
Jeff Petrie is at 5.5. So you're looking at $16 million you're acquiring.
Hmm.
So trading William Nylander isn't even going to come
Get it back.
close.
Get it back.
It's not even going to come close. You'd have to start with like Mitch Marner
And
or like a Tavares or something like that. You would have to start off with a $10 million cap hit just
mhm.
to even come close. Because maybe you don't trade William Nylander, maybe you trade a Kerfoot and some prospects and picks. See, like that $11 million plus Kerfoot's 3.5, it comes close. The two
That would be
million
huge.
dollars you can fudge at the end, but
Hmm.
you know that's why a lot of people want to trade William Nylander, but at $6.9 million, it doesn't move the needle cap wise.
Hmm. No, I agree.
It's
That's
one
why
of
I said
those things. Yeah,
that's such a weird trade to recommend, especially with
I was
the
like, oh
team
my! God,
that's a
imagine
rival.
acquiring $16 million.
Yeah, no. Who knows? It could happen with the Eichel trade too. Yeah, that could
Oof.
happen in the off season. That's a whole other story.
But
We'll come back to
there's
that.
a lot of teams at the bottom in the NHL that have cap space.
They do.
It's not like Like New Jersey has $10 million right now. Like Los Angeles has $10 million right now. Like Ottawa has $8.5 million right now.
Mhm.
You send one or two contracts the other way, it's easily doable.
Of
But
course, yeah.
yeah, it's in the flat cap world is a handful of teams that can make that kind of stuff happen.
Yeah. To be honest,
Okay.
I would love to see Eichel on the Senators if that could happen. And Senators have the pieces to give back to
Yeah.
Buffalo. I think
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
that'd be a great spot for him.
once you start the rebuild, you really have to go after that number one center. Like
Exactly.
you need that horse up front, like a Nathan McKinnon, like Nathan McKinnon, like is one of the things, right? Like last year he got totally snubbed when Draisaitl was hurt.
Hmm.
But one guy was like -13. I mean, one guy was like a -7. One guy was a +13. Nathan McKinnon got snubbed hard, but the guy has 7 points in two playoff games right now. And McDavid last night, did you watch that game?
No, I missed that game
Oh my
against
God.
Oilers.
If I
Uh,
was an Edmonton Oilers fan, I would be so embarrassed. I wouldn't even go on social media today. The guy played with zero intensity, zero effort, zero emotion. It was the flattest game I've ever seen in my life. And I'm like, you got 105 points because, you racked up 30 some odd points against the Sens, whatever. But like, this is the stage. You want to be the
mhm.
best player in the NHL. This is the stage. And he was non existent.
And
I was watching it and I couldn't even believe what I was watching last night. I was like, the Winnipeg Jets had one of the easiest playoff games in
mhm.
terms of nobody was hitting them, nobody was checking them. Like it's just, you know,
Is Cassian still on the first line with McDavid, or did they shift him out?
I think they put Yamamoto there.
Oh, okay.
But once imagine and
Yeah, one guy can't do everything.
but yeah, just the fact that Yamamoto's on your top line says a lot about your team.
Yeah,
I don't want to be rude, but like,
yeah.
on a contender, the guy's maybe a third or fourth liner.
Hmm. Yeah, I think easily Colorado should grab this series, and for like it's got to be a sweep. Maybe St. Louis wins one, but I really think it's going to be a sweep.
Yeah, I mean, now that Kadri is going to get.
Kadri's out, man. Classic Kadri.
Man,
I didn't even
I
see what he
want
did.
so much success for that guy. I love that kid. When he was a Toronto Maple Leaf, he bled blue and white, and
Yeah.
I love the guy's intensity. On Overdrive, I was watching it on TSN right before we got on our chat here, and the guys on Overdrive were like, "If you can trade Kerfoot for Kadri right now, would you want Kadri on your team?" And all three
Of
say
course.
yes, without a shadow of a doubt. But the
Of
guy
course he did.
makes mistakes. He just gets so amped up.
Yeah.
I feel so
I
bad for the guy. And Colorado's going to take that series with or without Kadri. It's not a big deal, but hopefully he just gets suspended for the first round, and then for the second round he can come back and he's got it out of his system.
Yeah, no. I think his coach will definitely have a talk with him and be like, "Yo, chill
Joe
out, dude.
Sakic
Like
is going to walk down and be like,
if you
"Are
guys can do
you
this."
kidding me right now?
Yeah.
You told me when I traded for you that you weren't going to do this again."
Yeah, no. That's Kadri doing his classic playoff thing,
You love how hard he plays and with the grit that he plays. You love everything about him. A lot like Tom Wilson. But at the end of the day, every once in a while, that emotion's going to take you that extra step, and you're just going to make contact with the guy's head. And it seemed much more of a hockey play this time. Before against the Bruins, you cross check someone in the face. It was different.
Yeah, that was different.
This was much more of a hockey play, but it's if the guy lets up or ducks down, or if he moves his head at half an inch, and then all of a sudden you make contact with the head, it just
It's
looks so
over.
bad because the guy was knocked out.
Damn. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's I don't know what the situation was, like how many games did he get yet, but I think they're still waiting for it.
Yeah, he's
The
having
in-person
an
hearing,
in-person Zoom meeting with
Zoom meeting.
yeah, so
Okay.
that automatically makes it 5 games. So I don't know if it's five regular season games equates to what in the playoffs,
Mhm.
but we'll see.
All right.
So
All right.
tonight's game, what is your What's your score prediction for tonight's game? What do
Uh,
you think is going to happen?
Honestly, I think Toronto's gonna come out like with flying stars. Like these guys are not gonna let up on
You
the
think it's going to be
gas.
like a 4-1?
I really think I was just about to say it was gonna be like a 4-0 or a 4-1 game. Um,
It's usually high scoring between
it's a high
Montreal
score.
and Toronto. So like it's one of those things, but I think just for this first game, because they've had so much time to prepare and the Leafs are going to come out in the first 10 minutes like they're shot out of a cannon. And I think Montreal's main game plan will be tonight. We got to weather the first 10 minutes and then we'll see where the game goes from there. If the Leafs can get one early, then I think it's going to be like what you say. But if the Leafs don't score in the first 10 minutes, I can see this like grinding down to like a 3-2 game.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a possibility.
Yeah.
It's just I just think that the this game should be in the bag for Toronto. Like we should not be losing this game because Montreal does not have Kotkaniemi, Caulfield, and there was one more name that I don't remember, but he's
Romanov,
yeah, Alexander Romanov. Yeah,
their young
so
defenseman. Yep.
they're not bad players. These are pretty solid players.
No,
Uh, Kotkaniemi,
what I like about what's going on in Montreal right now is they're a little bit in their own head. An inexperienced coach is talking about experience in the playoffs,
in the play, that's true.
and he's like, "I'm gonna play this guy over the young kid because of experience." Bro, you don't have any experience whatsoever.
Right.
So to talk about experience and this and that, I think is you know it, if it comes down to getting that one goal and you have a man advantage, I mean, do you really want like Corey Perry or like Eric Stahl or Josh Anderson coming over the boards, or do you want Tatar out there with Gallagher and Cole Caulfield and they're throwing pucks at the net? I mean, I would go with the younger kid. The guy just
So I'll
four
take
goals in
Tatar
10
Caulfield
games.
and
I mean,
yeah.
four. You and those games towards the end of the season, they were amped up. They had to win to get in, and he was scoring overtime goals. So I think
He
it's one
has
of those
a
things where
he has a
you got to give the kid credit for what he's done.
mhm. Yeah, and if we look at Montreal's lineup,
Mm-hmm.
their first line you got Tatar Deno Gallagher. I think Gallagher's back from his
Yes.
injury. He
Yeah.
hasn't played in I don't know how long. Um, Toffoli, Suzuki, Armia as their second,
Yeah.
which is it's an okay second line. Their
Hold
third
on. Say
line
that
really
again. Say
looks
the second line again.
Toffoli, Suzuki, and Joel Armia.
Oh, they put Joel Armia on the second line.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm surprised Anderson's not on the second line, but maybe coaches mixing, matching.
Yeah, I think they
Yeah,
want that third line to be big and bruising. I
the
think
big one, yeah.
they really want it to be as big as and tough as they can get.
Yeah, that third line's going to be very annoying. How like the entire game,
Oh
and
yeah.
I'm pretty sure the coach is going to realize, okay, maybe I need to switch up the lines mid game. So you will definitely see some line changes halfway through the game. And then and yeah, like we said before, Corey Perry, Stahl, and Anderson on the third line, and then on their fourth line we have Paul Byron, Jake Evans, and then Lekanen, which is yeah, that should be okay.
I mean, they're set lines to start the game, but if the Leafs get one or two early, I think they're gonna switch it up real quick.
Easy, easy, yeah.
Especially if that third line gets scored on and they look a little slow. I think they'll change that up real quick.
Hmm. Absolutely. And their defense, I think oh Shea Weber is back, so that's I
That's
guess
right. Yeah.
that's good to hear.
Yeah.
Well, not for us, but for them.
They
You got
posted a
Joel.
picture of him. They posted a picture of like the team at some like I don't know where they were visiting, but they posted a picture. Then they took it down real quick, and it looked like Shea Weber had this like thing on his hand, it was like a cast with a metal piece over his thumb.
Oh, like a brace,
Yeah,
something
like
like that.
it was not like one of those like those light brown colored regular braces. It looked like a pretty heavy duty piece of metal on there.
Gotcha. Hmm.
So the fact
Yeah,
that he's out there shooting and stuff, I don't know what percentage he's at, but they took that picture down real quick. It looked real
hmm,
bad.
that's interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's based off of what you said. Like
Hmm.
I'm not surprised that he's playing third line minutes right now.
Yeah.
He's on the third pairing with John Merrill. which I don't think he's
Yeah,
going to
John
get a lot
Merrill
of minutes.
is a shutdown guy, so
Yeah, I
I,
think.
I think those two guys are going to be going up against the Matthews line pretty much all night.
Yeah. So you got Edmondson, Petrie as the top line, pretty
Mm-hmm.
solid.
Yep.
Uh, and then Kulak and Sherratt on the second one. So yeah, like I think their defense is nothing too much to brag about. If the Leafs offense can, get the ball rolling early, they should be able to, take over and pretty much control the game from the bat.
Yeah, I think just based on the size and speed of their defense, it's not a relatively quick defense. So I just think, the Leafs need to do what they've been doing all season, and they've played really well against the Montreal Canadiens, and they've held on to puck possession, and they've created tons of offensive zone time. So I think they just got to keep doing what they're doing, man.
Yeah,
Don't be scared. Don't cough up the puck. Take a hit to make a play. Fundamental hockey.
absolutely. Yeah.
But
So, eh,
super jacked, man. I've been watching all these playoff games, man. I'm like, when are the Leafs gonna play? Ah.
so did the Habs confirm that Price is going to start?
Yes, they did.
Gotcha. Okay. So let's see. It's
Yeah,
going to be a battle of.
I'm hoping he doesn't get hot. It's so typical Leafs that, like, the goalie that you play just comes out of nowhere and he gets hot, but
Yeah,
you
and it's
can't we
always
can't think like that anymore. The Leafs are too good.
it's always against the Leafs too. Like it'll just be like a random backup just killing it against the Leafs.
Although, the Leafs did that to a couple of teams this year because it's like Hutchinson came in, got some shutouts, and then
Oilers, yeah,
Rittich played
against the
one really
Oilers.
good game, and then all of us, like, the Leafs have done
Yeah.
that this year, which is, it's
Mhm.
more of a testament to, I think, the Leafs rolling so many goalies through the net and still winning games is, let's play our game. It doesn't matter who's in net. If we play solid, we can limit the chances and we give our goalies a chance to win. So I think
Mhm.
the Leafs have definitely
Absolutely.
passed that point. Well, I think Craig Button was doing like a segment on TSN, and he was showing the Leafs like goals against in the last 5 years, and he's like, this year they've shaved more than a goal off their goals against, and
Wow.
he's like, their defense is really legitimate this year.
Yeah, and I agree. Like this is pretty much a brand new defensive unit, like or what lineup that we have.
Sandine, Bogosian, what's it called?
Hall,
TJ
I would say
Brody,
Hall and
Hall. Yeah,
Brody. Hall, I
they're
would say his name
guys.
is.
Yeah, it's their first full seasons with the Maple Leafs, and they've done well.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So let's see. It's going to be a great series. Obviously, we're hoping the Leafs win, but if Montreal can pull out a win or two, it's not surprising because they still have a solid team there, and it looks
Yeah,
like they have a deep team. I'll give them that.
they do. They do have a pesky team, and they stick around, and they try to keep the game as close as possible so they can capitalize on their opportunities. So
Yeah.
I think in general, if the Leafs were to stumble, it would be in one of the first two games in Toronto. I think if they're gonna lose a game, it's gonna be either the first game or the second game, and then after that, they're gonna really roll into like a rhythm. I
Mhm.
think Riley Nash did his like post practice, and they asked him like, "You haven't really actually played for the Leafs, but can you tell us what's different between last year when you were on Columbus and what you see this season?" And he's like, it's unbelievable how seamless everything works on this team. Like, he's like, you know, from the management to the coaches to how the trainers are, and they've been helping me with my rehab and the practices. He goes, everything is so seamless. He's like, I've never seen anything like this in my life. And he played for the Bruins too. And then they asked him, why he thought the Leafs couldn't score against Columbus in those 5 games. And he said, the Leafs were rolling when they shut down the league. And he goes, us on Columbus, we were just a middling team. We weren't all that great. So when they ramped everything back up again, he's like, we just had to lock in and be defensively sound. We weren't like an offensive juggernaut, so we didn't have to worry about offense too much. But he goes,
Yeah.
for them, it's much harder to, in 5 games, just to get back into sync with the timing and the skating and the passing and the scoring. He goes, it was much harder for them, and we just all we had to do was make it harder. That's all we had to do. So it was really good to hear that
Mhm.
that it's that kind of elite level offense takes time to ramp up and to get into sync. So I'm hoping this little layoff, this 1 week, didn't hurt the Leafs too much.
I hope so. I hope we just come out flying like we did with you know the whole season. We've
Yeah,
been really good. We've only had like one or two sections of the season where just like we're losing a few games, but all in all, the Leafs have just been on fire this whole season,
yeah, they've been pretty consistent.
and we have no reason to believe that these guys are going to change up on the playoffs.
Yeah,
So,
if anything, they're gonna ramp it up to another
eh,
year. So
yeah, let's honestly hope the Leafs change things around this year. So there's a
absolutely,
lot
man, I'm super excited. We're gonna go through the Montreal Canadiens like a hot knife through butter, man.
of yeah. So it's good to see who is it? The Jets winning 1-0, right? So they're one up on the series.
At the beginning of the season, I had the Jets being the second place team in this division. I thought on paper, their forwards, their defense, and their goaltender is better than Edmonton.
Yeah, like I think on paper the Jets are the closest team in Canada with
Yeah,
that resemble Toronto. So
yeah, and they didn't have Ehlers or Dubois last night,
yeah, that's right. So that's
and that's what
makes me
really
think.
shocked me is that
Yeah,
like it was unbelievable what I was watching last night. I'm like, oh, Edmonton fans are gonna be on Twitter and they are going to go ape shit.
yeah. And that's it, it proves to you that you can't win a lot of things when you don't have a deep team. You
It
can't
also
rely on
shows
two
that if you
guys.
shut down McDavid, game's over.
Yeah, and look what the Leafs did. That what
Those
three
three
game
games, yeah,
series
those 3 games.
they
McDavid
closed
didn't
out that
score, and
McDavid
boom.
line. They didn't let McDavid score 2 games in a row, and I think what happened that third game, Freddie let in a goal. I
I
don't know.
think I think
I don't
in
remember who that
general in
was,
the
but
3 games, Draisaitl and McDavid combined for 1 point in 3 games.
in three. Okay, yeah. So yeah, that's what happens. The Jets know exactly
Hey
how to
man,
do it.
if you're gonna shut him out 2 games in a row, then both guys didn't get any points.
And that's right. Like whenever the Edmonton Oilers score, either McDavid or Draisaitl are on the score sheet. Like it's I don't know how many times somebody
It,
had
it
like this
hasn't
weird
happened.
stat.
Well,
Like it
the
hasn't
funny
happened in
thing
a
is,
while.
after last night's game, Kevin BX on the Hockey Night in Canada broadcast was like, "Good luck shutting down McDavid and Draisaitl a second game." I'm like, the Leafs did it 3 times in a row. Did you already forget that happened?
Yeah.
It's
No,
yeah.
if you can shut him down, dude, the Jets should be able to take this.
Well,
I don't see a reason
Hellebuck
why they
looked
wouldn't.
like Hellebuck last night too.
That's good to hear.
He
Yeah.
he struggled the last couple of weeks of the season, but Edmonton really didn't make it hard on him.
Hmm.
Like I was saying again, like I'm so surprised at how like they lacked everything, intensity, emotion, any sort of grit. Like I was in awe. I'm like, Hellebuck's gonna get a shutout tonight at this rate.
Hmm.
But he let in the 1 goal, so it is what it is.
Yeah. And you can't base a whole series off of just the first game. So I'm not counting Edmonton out. They can always pull it out.
Yeah, I'm assuming McDavid is gonna rev it up at one
You
point or
will.
another, but it's you can give away games. Like, why would you play the first game so bad?
Hmm.
You have home ice advantage. You just lost the game at home. You're gonna go back to Winnipeg, and if they feel good in Winnipeg,
They might be able to close out the series early. So
mhm.
yeah. In terms of the back to back, what goalies are we playing in games 3 and 4?
I don't know. It all depends on what the coach deems is the best thing. Do you play Campbell the first 3 games and maybe go up 3-0 and then let Freddie play the fourth game, and if you lose, you're up 3-1, so it doesn't really matter. Or, as a coach, do you want to say, hey, I trust you. It's 2-0. Go in and win the third game, and Campbell will close it out. You know what I'm saying? And maybe you give Freddie the kind of confidence he needs. Maybe that's the way it goes.
Yeah.
Coaches gotta be, they gotta weigh all that stuff. I think if the Leafs play the first 2 games really well, the Leafs are a good enough defensive team where Freddie can walk in there and win a game.
I think so.
Like, I don't think Freddie's a horrible goaltender. I don't think he's going to give up any like soft goals. I think he's just going to be. I think if he brings his B game, they still win.
Okay.
So
Yeah, like I'm kind of on the same boat. I would say if the Leafs win the first two games,
yeah,
game three should honestly be I personally would say Jack Campbell and then go with Freddie on the second game. To
yeah,
see, okay,
yeah,
you know what, you're able, Freddie, this is you on the line. We're able to close out the series 4-0. Can you come in and
yeah.
step
I
up?
think there's a good chance. Like the coach already told him, listen, get ready. 1,000% you're playing game four.
Yeah. He's gonna play. I really think Freddie will play either game three or game four. There's no
I
way.
think so.
I don't
I
think
don't. I
Campbell
don't
will play
think
both.
these two goaltenders are good enough where we don't need to put added stress or added tension on the body of a goaltender that might have some issues. You know what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
why not give him the night off? I don't think it's going to be a huge issue. I now that I'm thinking about it more and more, I think Montreal, because they're so desperate to win, I think they're going to run Carey Price, and I think that's going to be to their detriment. I don't think they're going to put in Jake Allen, who has
I
been
think
better
so.
than Price this season, but I think that's a problem for them.
Hmm. Yeah, and it's all the coach. So coach is he makes up what happens at the end of the day. So let's hope both of our goalies can perform and we
Yeah,
can
I think
win the
that
game.
Ducharme coach why are you barking? Stop it! I think that coach in Montreal is going to make some rookie mistakes.
Mhm. Yeah, and what happened in what the game seven series? I think with Boston. Like I know for a fact Babcock is not a rookie coach, but he's made some rookie mistakes, dude. Like
For sure.
putting in the dude the third line in at the end of the game when we're down a goal. What do
Yeah.
you do, man?
Yeah, it's one thing, like I like Keefe as a coach a lot. Soon as I saw
Yep,
him come out with a Sandine Bogosian pairing, my faith in him got locked down. I'm like,
I love that so
this
much.
guy understands.
Dude, a rookie with a veteran, like and like a smaller rookie and a
Well,
huge veteran. Like the guy,
it's
that's such a great pairing.
oh yeah, it's just one guy is so sound defensively, and the other guy is a good outlet for Bogosian, who's not really a fast skater. But if you get it to Sandin with his skating and his stick handling, he can get the puck out of the zone. He can make a couple of good plays, a couple of good passes, and all of a sudden you have three defense pairings where you have Riley, you have Muzzin, and then you have Sandin, who can move the puck out of the zone, and you're not always thinking about that third defense pairing not being that good. Now it's like it's spread out.
Yeah. So let's hope here. I'm gonna say Leafs in five. Here we go.
Here we go.
7:30.
Tonight's the night, 7:30. I'm super psyched.
I like that shirt. I just noticed that.
North
2021.
Division champions, baby. I
You
ordered
just
it
get it.
fresh off the presses. Soon
I
as it
like
hopped on NHL.com, I was like, click it. I need it.
I need it.
I got
Yeah.
the hat for to match this too, but they
Hmm.
came separately. So I'm waiting for the hat to come. I'm gonna wear both the hat and the t-shirt.
Gotcha. I like it. Yeah, I was looking. I think SVP Sports had like a pretty big sale too. They had like a nice like Leafs sweater and what is it, like a training jacket as well.
Oh yeah.
That was like, I think the sweater was like $29, and then this jacket was like 40 40 bucks. It was actually pretty good.
Yeah,
But
usually by this time of year, there's some pretty decent sales for the
there's some
summertime
good
because
sales.
it's like
Yeah.
they usually sell well in in the colder weather, but once it gets warm,
Yeah.
then they go on sales and stuff. I got tons of merch coming. I just recently bought this huge shadow box frame. It's like I don't know, fucking
Mm.
6 feet.
Yeah.
It's like a signed stick inside of it, and it's like Riley, Marner, Matthews,
Oh, dude,
with
that's
all,
sick.
and their pictures are all around the stick, and it has the hologram on it. Let me see if I have a picture of it.
That must have cost a fortune, man.
Well, this person bought it for $1,500, and
Okay.
then they ran into some issues, and then they posted it on Marketplace, and they wanted to get rid of it for 750, but I brought it down to $600.
Dude, that's a really good price. Is it a wooden stick or composite?
Yeah, it's a wooden stick,
Gotcha.
but it's like it says like Toronto Maple Leafs on it, and it says like signature series, and all the pictures around it have a hologram, and then the
Okay,
stick has a hologram. So
that's dope.
it's huge, man.
Really good price.
I don't know where I'm gonna put it.
How about like kind of like a banner size, like on that wall behind you there? If it's not heavy enough.
If it wasn't for this accent wall, I would have put it up here. But I love
Yeah,
this wall so much, I don't want to do anything to this wall.
that's true. I really like that design actually. It's
Yeah,
like blue with a little silver, gray.
yeah,
I like it.
it's like a 3D texture. When you touch it, it's 3D.
Gotcha.
It's embossed a little bit. Yeah,
Hmm.
I put
Oh,
like
that's really nice.
I put like three accent walls in my house when I first bought it before I moved in. One in
Hmm.
my bedroom, one in my guest bathroom.
Right, right.
The guy was
Uh,
painting. I'm like you might as well put it up.
yeah. Anyway, okay. So
Okay,
we'll
perfect.
if you guys have any questions, comments, put them down below. We'll
Hey
address them.
man, put your predictions in the comments, and we want to know what you think the score is going to be tonight. Who do you think is going to score the first goal of the playoffs? That's a good one.
Of our series. Yeah. No, yeah. Who do I think? I really think that Foligno's gonna score. I'm gonna say Foligno.
Ooh, that
It's a
would be
hot
a.
take. That would
You
be
know
a
what would be
nice
a real
first
good
goal.
field goal, real good story? If Joe Thornton scored the first goal of the
Oh,
playoffs. Oh my
I
god.
changed I
I
changed
would
my
jump
answer.
through the wall is what I would do. I would go out and buy his jersey tomorrow.
I changed my answer. Yeah, no, dude, I want Joe Thornton to win something, man. This guy can't retire like this.
Yeah, this he can't
Same with
no.
Marlowe.
It's such a
It's too bad.
shame. Yeah,
Yeah.
so on Twitter I had put that I think Nylander's gonna score the first goal of the playoffs, but in my heart of hearts, I want it to
Okay.
be Joe Thornton.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say I want either Thornton or Foligno to score that first goal. That would be a
That would be
really
a
good statement.
yeah.
And then can finally get that out of the way, and then the boys can step in and lead us to the next
I
series.
could see like Wayne Simmons scoring like one of those like ugly goals where he just flies into the crease and knocks the puck into the net, and then he just does one of those crazy celebrations where he's flailing his arms around. That would
Yeah,
get
that
me
would be cool.
jacked too.
Man, I love that sully between who is it, Hyman and Simmons on the bench. Oh, I missed that.
When he
I
skated and
kind
he
of
was
went for
like,
that. He
bam!
just high fived him right there,
I love it,
and
man.
then that one sully where I think Marner scored, and then Matthews went up behind and like high fived him from the
Did you
back.
see that? He's
That
like
was
low
a cool
five.
one. It was like from the back. Like that's a dope sully.
Yeah, but those guys are
Yeah.
like, they're so in sync. He's just skating and he's behind them and he just puts his little hand out and he's like, boop.
I'm convinced they're both the same person. It's just like their brains are connected somehow. It's like, cause like sometimes I think I'm like Mitch Marner knows exactly where Matthews is on the ice and whenever like he's able to locate where he is and he'll
Yeah,
pass it
man.
to him.
It's
It's
the
like
it's the very definition
impossible.
of hockey chemistry. Like
That's
if anybody
chemistry.
asks you to explain what hockey chemistry looks like,
Yeah.
and you'd be like, let me just show you Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner highlights from the
Right.
regular season.
Like these guys are amazing together.
Even last year, you remember when Matthews did that whip around where he did that
Carolina.
360 and then he passed it back to
Yeah.
Marner and he put that one timer in the net. I'm like,
Mhm.
at that level, what do? You just got to put your hands up in the air and be like, it is what it is.
That's literally the goal that I think of when I think of Matthews Marner chemistry. That's that goal. Matthews spinorama to Marner, like he doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah, I think we're definitely going to talk about this too. But like, what are your favorite goals of the season? And one of my most favorite goals of the season was, there was like a loose puck at the blue line in the offensive zone, and Galchenyuk puts it through his legs, and
Okay.
then it went to the defenseman. Defenseman tips it to Marner. Marner gave it to Matthews
Yes,
for that one
I
timer
remember
goal.
that. Yeah,
I jumped out
I
of my
love
seat. I
that.
was like, "Let's go! Come on!"
Yeah, no, that
Man,
was.
I get so pumped for those goals. It was just so tic tac toe. I'm like, but why the power play is so bad when you see that?
That's what I'm thinking.
It's like,
I
why,
just don't know.
when you have an extra man, can you not make those plays?
Mhm.
That's why I
Yeah.
think,
We'll
taking Tavares and some of those higher talented guys away and putting, like a Hyman and a Thornton with Matthews and Marner, and just make those guys the focal points and let them just skate around and make plays. You don't have to worry about Tavares and Nylander. Because
Mhm.
you think as a teammate, you're like, oh, these guys should get touches too, and that's what screws them up.
Right.
We're not in
Yeah.
the stadium, but from home, I'm yelling, shoot!
Yeah, you gotta love that. Anyway, so what we'll do is we're gonna do a review of this game after, hopefully, and
Absolutely.
maybe before when's our next game? Saturday.
Yep.
So we'll try to record our little preview that time too, and then we can discuss some things that went good or went bad
Yep.
in game one.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. So we'll enjoy the game, and we'll see you guys soon.
Absolutely. Take care, guys.